So the Magnitsky Act, which was named after my lawyer Sergei Magnitsky, was created exactly for this type of circumstance. It is to sanction people who are involved in extrajudicial killings of journalists, truth tellers, whistleblowers, etc. Jamal Khashoggi was a journalist. He was a critic of the Saudi regime. He went to the embassy, and if the reports are to be believed, he was murdered in the most grisly, horrific way as he was dismembered by a group of 15 assassins sent there by Saudi Arabia. If this is true, and again, it hasn't been proven yet, but if it's true, this is exactly what the Magnitsky Act is for. It should be for these people and those who ordered it going up as high as it needs to go.
But do you think the appetite is there as far as the U.S. president is concerned? We heard from President Trump yesterday, and he said that, again, this is another case of being guilty until proved innocent. He made an analogy with Justice Kavanaugh in this situation. There seems to be a disconnect between what the Congress want to do versus the president and his willingness to give Saudi Arabia the benefit of the doubt here.
Well, I don't think that President Trump, the Saudi regime, or the Turkish regime are in control of the story. The story is the most grisly and shocking story that I've heard in many years, and public opinion will drive the outcome of the story. And the public opinion is that that there is a premeditated murder of a journalist, of a Washington Post journalist, whose body was chopped up. And according to reports that I read last night, he was screaming in agony for 7 minutes while he was being chopped up. I mean, this is just the most horrifying story I've ever heard. And if there are not the most grave sanctions, then everybody involved will lose credibility in this story.
Now, we were also talking a lot about how many notable investors and banks have pulled out of this Saudi conference that was set to take place in a couple of weeks' time. What role do you think the investment community should play in countering and fighting back against human rights violations or anti-money laundering violations as well? I mean, we've seen a little bit of an impact in the way these shares are being traded. We've seen a bit of an impact in the Saudi stock market, but nothing major. Do you think that perhaps the time is to change the power and give more power to the investment community in the sense that they can apply pressure at a diplomatic level if governments are not going to do it themselves?
No, the investment community is never going to do anything on their own volition. I mean, investors basically are governed by greed and fear. If the penalties for doing business with bad guys are high enough, that will create the fear not to do business with them. People all the time were chasing Russian oligarchs. Banks were chasing Russian oligarchs to make them as clients. And then all of a sudden these oligarchs start getting sanctioned, and then the banks get in the middle of this ugly mess. And so now they're fearful of doing business with Russian oligarchs. They should probably feel the same about all potential human rights abusers.
Hey everybody, it's Hadley Gamble from our new CNBC Middle East Bureau in Abu Dhabi. Thanks for stopping by. Now to watch more, you can try one of the videos that just popped up on your screen. And don't forget to subscribe.